What do you do when a child who bleeds and sweats and pees LSD suddenly goes missing? We conducted a massive search, as massive as we could manage. Almost every mentally elevated CIA department was involved. We didn't trust anybody else. We never trusted anybody else. Shit, we didn't even trust ourselves, considering that it was one of our own who had taken the child. We searched for about 2 months, but never really turned up any leads. Since every other returned child had died within a few days of being freed from their amniotic sac, we scaled the search down pretty quickly. It's one thing to search for somebody like Bin Laden when everybody knows you're looking for him. It's another thing to search for somebody you had just worked quite hard to erase from official existence, so you would be free to perform tests on her. We felt that the search itself was more of a security risk than the missing child, since she was almost certainly dead. There was also a feeling that maybe it was for the best. Maybe she would survive. Maybe she would have a happy life. Maybe it was best not to know her fate. But then, about 7 years later, we learned what happened. If you'll allow me to wax philosophical for a moment, I'd like to quote a poem by Aeschylus that I've actually never read. Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. While I'm no literary scholar, I believe this means learning can hurt sometimes. So she had survived. Her genes came up in our program to collect a global genetic snapshot. A total boondoggle, by the way. So where was she? In some Russian laboratory, living out in some jungle, being worshipped as a god by some doomsday cult like Johnny 2? Floating through space in a bubble to Jupiter and beyond? Estonia. She was found in Estonia, in a Swedish-speaking village on the island of Hiiumaa. She was living a normal life. Apparently, the issue with the bio-LSD had resolved itself after detachment from the placenta. Otherwise, anybody who got a kiss from her would have found themselves going on a very strange journey. She was about 13 years old at this point, and had survived travel far longer than any other child. This meant she was an asset we absolutely had to obtain. She contained the secret to survivable travel, something that had eluded us for years. It would have been convenient if she was living a life of abuse and drudgery in some orphanage somewhere. We could have simply considered her a victim of fortune. But she was actually living in a quaint little village on the edge of a beautiful forest, with an old couple who had been given some phony story by our former agent. It was a nice life. Quiet, maybe a little boring, but a nice one. We took her in the middle of the night back to our facility in Colorado. In the end, she wasn't a victim of fortune. She was a victim of us.